Hi, everybody. Wise women lead. We're here to talk about voice, and I am Carla, Cosmic Crone, channeling the Cosmic Crone, working deeply with Baba Yaga. You can't see the painting that I've started. It's not time to show you yet. Oh, this is the Crone time. And that's why I am talking about today's presentation on voice in Wise Women Lead. Because it is time for the wise women, the ones who are, you can see croning, you can see your crone time on the horizon. You know you're headed there, or you've already crossed through that portal, or in many cases, younger women are being mentored by the crone, either a human being who is teaching and supporting them, or the crone goddess who has been calling you. So many of you are like I was. When I turned 30, it was like, thank God, I've been 30 my whole life. And now that I am a crone, I realize that this is literally what I was born for. Everything else was just getting out of my own way and getting ready. So here we are today. I want to speak to you, hopefully concisely, about voice. There are three divine feminine powers that I talk about, that all women need to heal and master. And they are sex, wealth, and voice. And I have done a lot of teaching about sex and a lot of teaching about wealth. Voice is one that I don't speak loudly enough or often enough about. So this Scorpio time, the rest of this year, and maybe even all of 2020, we're going to focus on voice. Voice is your manifesting power. It's really important to know that. If you are a witch, you know that the spell includes words. If you are doing magic of any kind, you name it and claim it. Even in our beloved patriarchal religion, she says ironically, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. The Word becomes form. Wallace Wattles, in The Science of Getting Rich, says, you send the thought and speak the word into formless substance, and it comes back to you as form. Casting your bread upon the waters is speaking your voice. It is naming what you desire, naming your truth. And that's just one aspect of it, but it's a really important part of what the voice is. If we are choking back our voice, we are not living the life we want to live, because we have choked back our capacity to create it and to call it in. So voice is manifesting power. The word becomes form, the word heals, the word reveals. That's what we're doing. And I'm sorry, I got startled because my gas stove just exploded behind me. It just cut on after it had been off for a while. It made a lot of noise. So I want us to tap into that power, the manifesting power, as women, and as women stepping into our power as crones and as healers and as world changers, because the world needs us to show up right now. And it's actually easy when you can find your voice. It's easy when you can find your voice, when you can learn to speak your truth, when you can learn to say what you want, when you can learn to name and declare and hold your boundaries. This can come in, this may not come in. This shall not pass. This is no longer allowed in my life. So your word delineates the threshold, and that's what I want to talk about today. Astrology is a big inspiration to me, and I was looking at the Mercury retrograde charts, the chart for tomorrow when Mercury stations retrograde, and then the chart when Mercury stations direct again. And there are really interesting aspects going on. It is a powerhouse of a chart. So I'm going to talk about that in the morning on my business page. Right now, I want to talk about an aspect that is happening simultaneous with Mercury turning retrograde in Scorpio. One thing that's always happening, you see Mercury in retrograde in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, is about speaking the things we don't talk about. Scorpio, let me paint you a picture, tell you a story. In Taurus, there is the Lilith star. She represents the demonized goddess, the goddess who was told, we were told she is evil, shun her. And she is staring across at Scorpio. Scorpio and Taurus are mirrors of each other. Taurus is the comforts of earth, luxury, feeling, placement, relationship. It is being at home in the world. That's Taurus. Scorpio is all the things that make life worth living. The fact that we die makes life worth living. Sex and pleasure and the power and the energy that surges through our bodies and unites heaven and earth through us, that makes life worth living. And then we've added other things to it, things that we don't talk about, like money and, spirit, taboo, anything that could be taboo, that the things that are silenced, either because they are so sacred or so profane, depending on your point of view, that we do not talk about them. And they become shrouded in secrets. And one thing about secrets, you will discover that lots of pain can happen in secrets. Lots of secrets, the power of secrecy can be abused. And I will have more to say about that in a moment. So the secrecy, silencing, stopping the voice. Do not tell anyone about this. Oh, you're thinking that, you're feeling that, this happened to you. Do not tell. It will rock the boat. It will bring shame. You will be punished. You will bring shame upon the lineage, the whole family. This is what Scorpio is about. So it's interesting to me that the goddess, Lilith star, the one that we have been told is evil, she is standing looking out at her domain in Scorpio, all the things that are sacred to her, all of the things that she holds the keys to: death, sex, pleasure, and abundance. These are all things that are in Scorpio, and they have become the things that we don't talk about. So, Mercury retrograde, Mercury is the communicator. And there are many ways of using your voice. You can use your body in movement. You can use art. You can use verbal and nonverbal voice. You can write. You can speak. But the point is, you become visible, and your truth and your feelings and the things you've been told to hide become expressed. And Mercury is saying, now you can express them. You must, and it might be, before you can express them, there may be a dredging up like you have to dig deep. Mercury might be digging deep, and then you have to do some healing work and some strengthening in order to express them. But that work begins in Scorpio, and it is very much helped by another aspect. Tomorrow, when Scorpio is turning retrograde, right now it's standing still. The station is pretty much in effect right now. The sun will be at 7 Scorpio, and it will be exactly opposite a planet. It's known as Albion now. It was just named this year or very recently. You have heard me talk about it in the past. Is QB1, the thresholder. This planet was the first thing that was discovered in our solar system that was beyond Pluto in a regular orbit, something other than a comet that was beyond Pluto. And for the longest time, for 30 years, he didn't have a name. And he's known as the one who holds the portal, who guards the door, the threshold. The threshold, when we step over a threshold, that is a symbol of transformation. That is allowing change to happen. And it is so magical and is so ingrained in our neurology that I saw an article the other day that, that thing where you step into another room and you forget what you went in there for, that's actually a neurological response to crossing a threshold. Because everything that was in the old room stayed in the old room, including your thoughts. I don't know how they quite feel. I didn't actually read the article. I read a synopsis. But just the idea is so intriguing that we, as human beings, we mark thresholds and we recognize them as being powerful. The door is a powerful symbol. And that threshold, because we walk upright on two legs, stepping over it is a profound and powerful action that we do with consciousness. So the sun is opposite the thresholder, the one who speaks to us about death, sex, orgasm, and birth. And then at 8 Pisces, you have Nessus, trine the sun in Scorpio, and sextile QB1 in Taurus. Nessus is the one about the healing. He stands for the healing of the lineage, especially the lineage of abuse and of silence, of keeping secrets. In fact, one of the great tools of the abuser is don't tell anyone. Silence the victim. Maintain that power for a lifetime. Maintain that power from beyond the grave. That is very much the story of the myth of Nessus and who he was in mythology. So right now, all of these things, the one who holds the threshold, who says, take a step, the sun that shines light, and Mercury stationing retrograde saying, know the truth and be prepared to speak it, and Nessus, which is saying the things you don't talk about, the things you've been told to keep silent, the things you're ashamed of, the things you are afraid will hurt you or will hurt people you love. Doing the forbidden, doing the taboo, doing what is necessary to heal the lineage. Now is the time. This aspect is being lit up by Mercury retrograde. And it's an aspect, right now it's created by the sun at 7 and then on the Day of the Dead. Oh, that's really interesting. On November 1st, the sun will be at 8. See, QB1 and Nessus are very slow movers. They are hanging out in sextile to one another for a very long time. They have been actually playing this this has been a building aspect for a while, and they're going to be hanging together for a while. I haven't looked to see how long, but they both move very slowly. So this effect is important enough and long-lasting enough that it's going to impact you. And it's going to impact our nation and the world. It's part of this whole thing, this whole chaos, this curative, this healing chaos that we're in right now. And I say healing because dredging up things from the shadows is horrible, and it's a necessary phase of healing. So it's happening for a long time. This sextile, this close harmony between Nessus and the thresholder. The sun is lighting it up right now. It is like pow. There are other aspects that will keep happening, that will keep talking to this sextile. But right now, this is like the initiating spark with the sun. Tomorrow on Halloween, and again on Friday. Now is the time. What do you need to do about it? I'll go into more detail on this tomorrow, and I'll do it probably tomorrow morning. But if I don't get to it tomorrow morning, it will be tomorrow afternoon. I will be talking about the Crone at the crossroads, because Hecate is jiving with Mercury in the retrograde. She is playing a very big role in this retrograde, and so are some of the other elder Crone goddesses. And in fact, in the triple goddess aspect of Maiden Mother Crone of Lilith, the Lilith star is the Crone, because she is the one, she has been there for the longest time, and she had to go into hiding. She went into the shadows. In fact, all of the Liliths have that Crone energy of going into the shadows, because they're all the things we don't talk about. And Lilith is in Scorpio also. She is, I'll talk about this more tomorrow. I just remembered, I don't have the chart in front of me. I left it in the house, but hi, Jen. Yeah, this is bigger than we can talk about in one day. So tomorrow on my business page, Carla Sanders Cosmic Crone, I'm going to do a summary of the entire Mercury retrograde, both the station tomorrow and the station retrograde and the station direct in 3 weeks. So right now, I just want you to know that this station is being initiated by the sun in a close harmony and a reflection of QB1, the thresholder, the place that you step across. See, it's an initiation, really. The things that QB1 stands for, birth, sex, and death, are all initiations. For the human being, they are natural initiations that bring us into this life and out of this life, and then mark our transits through life. Because, especially as women, our bodies give birth, and then we are often caring for the dying. So we have these natural physical initiations, and then the initiation that is your healing journey, your awakening journey, your maturing journey, things that used to be a part of society, and that society in the age of reason has let go of, has said, oh, that's not important because it's weird and we don't want to talk about birth, sex, and death. The initiation path includes, usually, involves dying first and then rebirthing. And in fact, almost any ritual you do will have those elements. Even if it's a very simple, very quick ritual, you can tune in to the energy of dying and the energy of renewing and being reborn. And then the energy that holds it all together is orgasmic energy, life force energy. It is the essential energy of any ritual. So we can look at it in the macro, like for the next 5 minutes, I am tuned into ritual. Or we can look at it in, that's the micro, and then the macro, which is our entire life, both as individuals and as a culture or a community or a tribe. So that's what I wanted to say. What does this have to do with voice? This has to do with preparing. Allowing yourself to think about, know, listen to your inner voice about what is on the threshold for you. When you step into the next, true, there is always surrendering and dying to something greater. That's the definition of surrender, dying to something of a lesser nature so that you can make space for something of a greater nature to come through. And oh, how we resist that. So, what this has to do with voice is you are activating your power by knowing and by finding the words. And the first words might be silent words in your journal where no one but you sees them. But ultimately, if you are to step over the threshold with transformation and integrity, then those words will have to cross your lips. And that's what I'm here to support you in doing. That is the essence of leadership, to help people say the words that are on their lips and to be able to say the words that other people need to hear, to trust that what is rising in you as truth must be spoken. It's an act of service, it is a gift, it is an act of love, and it's scary as hell, which is probably one reason why I haven't talked about voice as much as I've talked about sex and money. I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you for listening, and come and join me tomorrow morning. It'd be great to do it early, like around 10 o'clock, before Mercury actually turns retrograde. So I'll see you tomorrow on the page. Take good care of yourself during this moment. Mercury storm, Mercury shifting direction. It can be like multiple full moons, especially in Scorpio. And if the hurtful things that you don't want to think about and you don't want to talk about and you've been told you shouldn't talk about are what's coming up, then a whole lot of self-love and self-care is a part of this process. So farewell, and I'll see you tomorrow over on the page.